Hi everyone, I'm Gary Baumgarten. Many of you know me as Reporter Gary, and today I want to discuss whether the BDS movement and the anti-Israel movement on campus is a political movement about how bad some people feel the state of Israel is, or whether it actually is a case of anti-Semitism as some people suggest. And I only can point this out by looking at some very, very current events and recognizing that every country, of course, has its problems. And every country, including my own and your own, deserves to suffer a degree of criticism. But to the point where you tell people to boycott, divest, do not invest in those countries, in the countries? Is it that bad in Israel? Well, we all know that Israel is the only democracy in the Middle East. Let's stay in the Middle East and take a look at Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia is a country where, up until recently, women were not allowed to drive. Saudi Arabia is a country where, up until today, men and women were segregated in restaurants. Saudi Arabia is the country that gave us 9/11. All those folks came from Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia is the country from which a person studying at the Naval Air Base in Pensacola, Florida, opened fire, shooting people in a classroom. Not Israel. Not Israel, where Arabs participate in the government, Arabs are in the Knesset, Arabs are on the Supreme Court. Jews and Arabs live in peace in the state of Israel. Most of the emergency rooms, when you go to a hospital in Israel, are staffed by Arab physicians. Nobody says, oh, I'm not going to go to that hospital when I need medical care because an Arab is going to work on me. It doesn't work that way. And yet the BDS movement, the only BDS movement in this world, targets Israel, where there are freedoms, where gay people can be gay, where people can vote, where there's a vibrant news media, where the government is criticized on a daily basis, constantly, by opposition news organizations. You don't find that in Saudi Arabia, the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Now, this is not a video designed to attack Saudi Arabia per se, but to use the example of Saudi Arabia and contrast that with how some people look at Israel. And maybe some people are very well intentioned who support the BDS movement. You don't find demonstrations against Saudis who participate in campus activities like you do Jewish students and Jewish speakers. There are actually universities where they are attempting to bar any Israeli from coming onto campus and participating, speaking. Please, somebody show me where Saudi Arabia is not allowed to have a representative on campus. So when you look at the vast human rights transgressions that occur in Saudi Arabia that I'm not even delving into, I'm just skimming the top, and you contrast that with what's going on in Israel, and you see the disparity between those two nations, and then you take a look at the BDS movement and the anti-Israel movement on campus, and Jewish students made to feel uncomfortable on campus, one can only reach the conclusion that these movements are not pro-Palestinian movements. They are really anti-Jewish movements. Now, there's nothing wrong with opposing the Israeli government's policy toward the Gaza or toward the West Bank. In fact, within the state of Israel, there is a lot of criticism. There's a saying, if you get two Israelis together, you get three opinions. Everybody's got an opinion in Israel. And it's not always favorable of the government policy, and that's fine. But to try to launch a boycott to economically choke off Israel under the guise of it being a political movement, because we are righteous individuals trying to right wrongs, I would believe the sincerity of those people more so if they addressed and directed their attention to Saudi Arabia or to China, where it's been revealed that they have prison camps for political dissenters in China. I don't see a BDS movement with regard to China. What do you think? If you agree with me, give me a thumbs up. If you think I'm full of hooey, give me a thumbs down. Please put your comments at the bottom. Subscribe, hit the alarm button so you'll be notified the next time we have one of these little chats. And until next time, peace out.